Good morning. Today is January 14 and I am drinking tea and my tea bag has this interesting thing. Um, if you can read it, I'll read it. The path, sorry, the pain you feel today will be the strength you feel tomorrow. The pain you feel today will be the strength you feel tomorrow. It doesn't have the name who said it. It says unknown. So this morning, when I had coffee, so I got up earlier considerably. So I had coffee, and then it was still a little cold, so I'm wearing my flannel shirt on top of regular shirt. It's still a little cold in the house, and so I decided to have some tea. It's sort of like a green tea type of thing, and I saw this writing, and each of the tea bag has different kind of writing, and a lot of them are inspirational type of message it has. And as soon as I saw this, I wanted to send it to a friend, and first I thought that, oh, should I send it or not? I didn't want her to find it too preachy, or then I thought another way it could be that it might make her feel better. So I thought, if I send it and if she thinks it's preachy, what will happen? The worst is she's not going to respond or something, but that's okay. But then I sent it, and her response was like, I really needed it, thank you. I really needed it today, thank you, right? So I share this because I remember a couple of years ago, I read an article how I think it had 7 different ways how we can, I forgot how the article exactly, the title was, but how we can feel better. One of the ways was by making others feel better about something, kind of inspiring other or sending an uplifting message or something. And that really resonated with me, which is why I remembered that and I forgot the rest of the other ones. One might have been doing gratitude practice daily, which is very common in many different things they talk about. But this one, after I read that article, I remember I used to practice that very often. Someday, if I'm not feeling fully in the zone, I would send some nice messages to several of my friends. And then, depending on how people's days are going, some would really appreciate it because they needed that. And for some, it will be just okay, and which is normal because on a different. Sorry, I gotta get my hair fixed before I start this video. It's a little messy. Anyway, so it does really make a big difference. So after I did it for a while, it has become a habit for me. So my emotions are neutral today. I won't say it's great. I won't say it's bad. It's kind of neutral. So I wanted to boost it up, and that's also why I was like, okay, I had this message. I wanted to send it. So I sent it to this friend, and I felt so good that it really helped her. So I responded saying, I'm so glad it helped. If in your life sometime, if either you're in a neutral zone or not feeling good, trust me, push yourself to do that, and you will feel the difference. Because it's also something that our surroundings and the universe, the outer world, is literally a reflection of our inner world. So as you keep doing that, that becomes your second nature, and that's how people relate to you. Because there's a thing also that they say, everybody who knows us, they know only like the tip of the iceberg, right? There's a 10% of the iceberg that stays on the top of the water, and 90% stays under the ocean. So we all are like that. We are 90% of it, nobody knows, nobody understands, because it's a life that we lived. It's each of the stone that we had to turn throughout our life. to get to where we are. Nobody knows that journey except we ourselves. And if you believe in God, you know, it's you and God. Nobody else knows. So people learn about us only by seeing a little bit of the conversations or communications, you know, they have with us. That's how they form. I don't want to say the word opinion, but sort of like that, right? So, okay, if I were to say me, like Anju, people would know Anju as based on the communication that they have. If a um, person A and person B would look at me very differently, and the person A would look at me based on the communication and conversation, how long they have known me and how they have seen my actions. And, you know, if I help somebody, hurt somebody, whatever I have done, whatever they have witnessed, they have that version of me in their mind that that is how Anju is. Similarly, the person B, whichever way they have seen me with a little bit of interaction, and they'll have a completely different image. And it is because we ourselves, we are not 100% consistent with our responses and reaction and everything all the time, right? Because otherwise we'll become robot. Otherwise everybody will look at us like the same person, because we have emotions which robots don't. So depending on what's going on in our life, sometimes we may feel very happy, sometimes we might be, you know, okay, you know, a little bit happy, not too much. Sometimes we'll be neutral, sometimes we'll be feeling crappy. And based on that, our response or reaction could be different, and that's what makes us human. There is nothing wrong with that, you know, as long as nothing is excessive and repetitive, there's nothing wrong with that, you know, because the right people will understand you. So yeah, so it's an interesting concept. How, yeah, and I can't remember where I saw that, but it resonated with me so much. It was a few years ago that everybody will have a different image of you based on the communication, conversation, you know, the phone calls or sit down meetings, whatever you had with them. That's their version of you. And it goes back to that, you know, 8 billion people in the world has 8 billion unique journey, and our brain tries to draw a pattern. So I'm looking at a tree outside, and it comes to my mind like, these are the trees. So when I grew up in India, a lot of this type of trees I haven't seen in India. So I remember first when I bought this house, the first thing came to my mind was that, in India we usually have fruit trees. And generally we don't have this kind of trees, but here in Virginia, the fruit trees, a lot of the fruit trees don't grow because in wintertime it gets really cold. Even though something is new, our brain tries to draw a pattern with what we know, right? And sometimes we make a comment and sometimes we don't, but that's what brain is constantly doing when you even see a person from a different background or not. It's constantly doing that. There is no right or wrong. This is part of the observation, right? It's like they said, don't judge, don't criticize, don't blame. Just observe. And there's nothing wrong with observing something, because when we try to resist that, they say what you resist persists. And when you just observe it and just don't make any judgment, then just it goes away. If you think of Buddhism, that's how in Buddhism they say like the cloud, right? It just goes away. One other thing I figured that but that probably takes some maturity, because in the past I was not able to do that, but then for the last several years I'm able to do that. Let's say if some very sad or upsetting event happened, I don't know, it could be death or it could be other life-challenging situations that you might be going through or you have gone through in the past. There's enough time where you want to spend where you talk about it, but after some time you want to get to a point where you are not just talking about it, because it goes back to this. I keep this here even for my own reminder. Our thinking, speaking, action. Thinking, speaking, action. It's like a triangle, thinking, speaking, action. More we speak about something, our mind stays there. So if you want to get out of that hamster wheel that is keeping you sad, that is keeping you stuck, at some point you want to get out of that. But of course not in a way that it stays buried under many layers of your subconscious mind, or your in your thought, in your mind. Because if you bury it without speaking about it, then it's going to come up, and in fact it's going to come up more, because what you resist persists. So it is going to try to come up. However, if you talk enough about it, and at some point you want to have you'll be like, okay, I talked so much about it that I don't want to talk about it anymore. And it happens. And at that point, you have to have an intention. Even if it comes to your mind, you just focus somewhere else, like somewhere better. You talk about something better, something productive. Because what you focus on magnifies. And that is with each and every topic. What you focus on magnifies. So good or bad, whatever that is, either if it's fear or faith, you can test it yourself. Just one day. I wouldn't recommend it doing for all day, but for your own practice, if you want to do, you can do one day. You just focus on that one thing that is making you fearful. And if you focus on that, I can guarantee that your day is not going to go good, because you'll be constantly worrying about that. And all the other areas, when you are talking to somebody, responding in an email, text, chat, everything will have some impact on it, because you're living in that zone. It's different zone, different frequency that goes on around us. And on the other hand, if you go by faith, it's like pick another day, and then what you constantly do is, whenever any sad thought comes up, you just focus on something that makes you feel better. Maybe the praying, maybe meditation, maybe going out for a walk. I mean, you can print a big something saying that, okay, whatever works. If it's gratitude, like you can do gratitude all day with simple things. Gratitude for food, water, blue sky, just keep focusing your all day to that, and see how that day your communication with everybody, with text, email, call with everybody, and how you feel at the end of the day. There'll be a huge, huge, huge difference. You'll see it for yourself. And for that, you don't have to wait 3 months or 6 months. You can feel the difference in just one day. I'm writing it down because someday not someday, I don't know, maybe today later I'll make a shorts about that. And I did it in different ways, but this is something, like, as I'm trying to simplify my coaching program material, these are something I want to get folks to focus on, because more we learn about ourselves by experiencing ourselves, experiencing the thing by ourselves, then more we know that how we can break the barrier, how we can make lasting changes. Because there is no limit of how many self-transformation coaches are there in the world. There are very big people, there's mid-level, and there is new folks, but different people connect with different things. You might get more inspiration from some no-name person versus somebody could get their real inspirations from a big shot, because it all depends on who connects with who, like, really feeling that deeper connection. I was looking at in the news, something caught my eye this morning. I think the book is called Inner Excellence. I still have the page open. It's called Inner Excellence, and written by Jim Murphy. I actually didn't know about the book. So since like Jim Murphy is a self-help, self-transformation coach, but his writing is more focused on for the folks who are focused on sports related. So some NFL player, AJ something. I'm not very familiar with NFL, but anyway, so he was reading that book and people noticed it, and that became Amazon bestseller. So the reason I bring this up is because there is no shortage of stories. There are 8 billion stories and how people have overcome their life challenges, and which is why I keep sharing this too, that share your story, because you never know who is going to feel motivated, feel that, you know, the fire inside them from your story. And it does not have to be a YouTube channel. It does not have to be just commenting on my channel. Whichever way you feel, like the people around you, right? Share your story, because a lot of time there are people, especially introvert people, they won't even tell you that it is impacting them in a good way. They will go take an action, and that can change their life. That can change the people around them, right? Because when one person changes their life for the better, it's not only for them, it's the people around them and those people around them. So there's always a ripple effect that goes on. So, you know, share your stories, because you never know how many hearts you're going to touch through the process, who you are going to inspire. A lot of time we don't even know the impact that we are making. I have heard that from several of my friends at different times, that how they shared a little something with somebody else and how they were inspired. So it always amazes me, because this is really, really, I feel passionate about. Yeah. So, you know, it's also like find your passion and do it. It's a, and in this channel, like I always say, I focus on the midlife, because sometimes I feel like it's easier to teach what we have been through ourselves. And for me, you know, I have done leadership coaching, public speaking coaching, I had mentees, but I have never felt this much passion to see the smile on people's face, how they light up, the twinkly stars in their eyes. It just makes me so happy. There's a lot of pain, a lot of struggle in the world, and my hope is through this, if I can reduce some, you know, because I have been through this journey and learned a lot of things. So I'm going to keep sharing with the world to reduce the cycle of pain, because nobody will be happy every day, but the time we spend. So if you think of it, in our life, we live, let's say, 80 years, 90 years, whatever, how many years we'll live. And we dwell between these two states, right? Like sometimes we're neutral, sometimes, you know, the subconscious doing everything, which is more negative, and then the conscious tries to be positive, but very less of it, and this neutral part. More we can stay in this zone, the better zone, the happier zone, and we can reduce that. That's all we can do, right? Because what a waste it will be if majority of our life is spent on sadness or craving or, you know, I don't know, jealousy and anger, bitterness, and all of that. So less we can have that, and more we can live in the happiness, is the maximizing living life, really enjoying life, right? So to do that, there are some technique that we have to use to train our mind. And after midlife, if you consider midlife as starting at 40, of course it can be before or after, but after 40 it really hits it for a lot of people. And that is the time a lot of people think that, okay, you know, it's been too long, I've been doing this, I can't change. But that's the beauty of it, that you can change even at this time. And there are so many positives actually to change and do things around this time than when you're in 20s or 30s, because you have seen life enough. And not only that, from many aspects, either if it's financial, emotional, physical, a lot of, you know, if you do this, this could happen, because you have a little more life experience, right? Versus when you're in 20s taking risks. So a lot of people get worried about taking risks when they are in their 40s. What I would say is risk is actually a lot less in 40s than when you're in 20s, because you have been through a lot of life experiences, knowingly or unknowingly. You have made decisions that was risky, and you knew what could happen or what couldn't happen, and you saw how those played out. And those are the experiences that you can use when you're in your 40s to make that path shorter. And of course you can have mentor or coach to get you there where you want to be, which will shorten the path. However, my belief is it still goes back to that our best coaches can be ourselves, because we are the one 24/7. So we can be our best cheerleader or best or worst critic, right? So it's important to keep ourselves trained, and finding those what really helps us to stay there, right, in that high frequency zone. It could be prayer, it could be meditation, it could be listening to self-help books, whatever resonates with you. These are some of the things that resonates with me, and there are a few other things it does that, so I keep doing them. And sometimes it doesn't make it feel like chore to me, but in the beginning when you're trying those, it may make it feel like a chore, but keep doing that, and then it becomes a habit. And once it becomes a habit, it doesn't make it feel like a chore anymore, because then you enjoy doing it. You know, it's hard to believe, but over time it happens. So this habit formation takes anywhere between 21 days to 66 days. I mean, you know, it all varies. What I would say is you got to give it at least 1 to 2 months. By 2 months, definitely it becomes a second nature. So, you know, whatever habit you're trying, either practicing gratitude or just staying in the present moment. And the best part of it is when you continue doing that, the 6 months. I think the other day I was listening to a random video from YouTube. Jim Rohn was Tony Robbins' coach, and I think the channel was Jim Rohn's AI voice. However, where he was talking about in that video, I thought it was really, really good, and it resonated with me again. So sharing that 6 months is a really good window to figure something out, that is this for you or not. Let's say you're trying something new, and 6 months is a good enough period to see where do you really enjoy it, do you like it, what's happening, or because it's long enough time to set a goal and see if this is something you're excited about. Also, 6 months is enough time to keep doing on a consistent basis, and then you will know that, you know, if it's not really connecting with you, and then, you know, either you change it or do whatever. So for me, when I started this channel, I'm on my 8th month now. Yeah, because I started in May. Initially when I was making the videos, if you check out my initial videos, I mean, my mindset was nowhere near how it is right now. But I just had to keep going. I just had to keep going with the practicing mindfulness. Some of the videos are just simply just mindfulness practice. That's what I was doing. But then over time, I figured that from point A to B, who I became, and that's the most important part. They say, who I became made me more excited and curious to learn about myself. I'm like, from 6 months or whatever, from A to B, if this is the new version of me, I'm excited to see when I go from B to C, how I'm going to feel. And what are the new ideas and things that will pop up in from my mind. That's the excitement you can go with. And for me, I can tell you that when I started this video today, I was feeling more neutral, but as I keep talking about this cool stuff, I'm getting in the high frequencies and that's the difference, because you give it enough time and then you will know. Because the thing that I came up with, why I say came up with, because normally they talk about thinking, feeling, and action. But my theory is feeling is so natural, it's hard to control. But speaking is one way you can control it. Because imagine this, goes back to we ourselves can be our best coach. Imagine this, if I keep saying, okay, I gotta go to the gym, I gotta go to the gym, even if I didn't feel like going, which I do these days, I go to the gym. Even if I didn't feel like going, if I keep saying that for 6 months, I will get my butt off this chair and then I'll go to the gym. So that's, I think, how one of this, speaking can push us to take that action that is necessary. And then our thinking changes, and from there we can do more speaking. Whatever is our dominating thought, we speak about that, and then action happens. So it's like that. So that actually helped me to, I go to the gym, but it's not very regular with different things. I kind of sometimes deprioritize it. But because I stuck with this channel for 6 months and I uncovered so much, I'm like, I have this goal of losing the weight. So I'm like, I'm going to give it 6 months, 4 days a week, if not more. Just push myself to go there 4 days a week, and the change will happen naturally, because then it becomes a real habit that you can't live without. So whatever that you're trying in your life, either feeling better coming out of a situation, life transition type of thing, or switching a career, trying public speaking. Toastmaster is great for public speaking. I have been with Toastmasters for now, 10, 12 years, and it has helped me in a way that I can't even explain, because of my work and overall confidence. It's not only for public speaking, it's it helps in so many ways. So, if you're interested in public speaking, look it up. Around your area, you will find it's a global organization. They have Toastmasters everywhere. And why I bring up Toastmasters is because public speaking is one of the best way to get out of your comfort zone, and it helps with different kind of confidence building. Even if you're going through midlife crisis and public speaking is not your thing, but you wanted to always try, or a little bit, try that. Because the most fearful thing on that list, number 1 is death, number 2 is public speaking. So if you can do public speaking, you can overcome anything in your life. So unless you're already a very good public speaker, so then for you it's a different tactic we have to do to to get you there. But if public speaking is something that they're fearful of, and if you overcome that, that is one way you will be able to get your mind off of whatever was sad that's happening in your life to that better zone. Because what you focus on magnifies. So focus on those good things, that self-growth, in a simple term, personal growth. Self-growth. So I'm going to write that down. Not self-growth or personal growth, but I'm going to make a short about that. That's why. So so you guys can see how my ideas kind of pop up with different things, and then I make the short sometime. So anyway, personal growth. So if you keep the focus on your personal growth instead of whatever is happening that day or the day before, whatever is making you sad, just focus on your personal growth. That is another way to get your mind off of that, and you can focus on something productive, right? It could be even, I don't know, doing some certification related to your work, or it could be related to you wanted to do a side hustle for a long time, but you don't really know, but or something, some hobby you wanted to set aside a couple of hours a week to do some hobby, and that's what you focus on. It's like hobby is also part of personal growth, because what happens is when you are happy, you're part of the brain that is creative, that becomes more creative, and that is why that helps with the personal growth. So anyway, I talked about a lot of different things, unplanned things, and you guys know that the morning videos are kind of journaling, whatever comes to my mind I just share, and a lot of my friends have said that those are helpful, because I share tips here and there which I don't plan to how I do it, and this is the part of this morning chat, is that I kind of share with you guys what's on my mind. Hopefully someday I will do it like a live chat where you guys would be I would be able to chat with you guys back and forth, of course I think through comment. I'll do a live chat someday. But for today, have a great day. It's Tuesday. Usually Tuesdays are super busy in corporate world. I remember Tuesdays used to be like nonstop meetings for me. Normally also I had a lot of meetings all day, but Tuesdays used to be crazy busy. But take the time, even 1 minute counts. Take the time, 1 minute, just for yourself. Notice what you are seeing, the colors of the things. Smell, taste your food at lunch, hear the sound. Pick one of those. You don't even have to pick all your senses, just one of this, just 1 minute. Focus on it. You'll feel good. Okay, bye. Take care.